Let's talk about breasts now. Not like that, Ian. We're not talking about ladies' boobs, we're talking about man boobs. Get this, since 2003, the number of men going under the knife for a breast reduction has risen by 1,000%. Wow. In a couple of minutes, we'll be chatting to TV and radio presenter Bill Buckley, who was one of the first to have the operation almost 10 years ago. But first, Bill's been out to see why more men are having the operation, even went into an operating theatre to see one being done.
This is me, 35 years ago. On the whole, a happy adolescent, if such a thing ever exists. But I'm hiding a guilty secret, which affects my life every day.
When I was a boy, I developed man boobs, or gynecomastia to give it its proper name. I hated it, but for decades, I did nothing about it other than disguise the area. Finally, at the age of 40, I had liposuction, the best decision I ever made. And today, I'm going to meet a guy who's about to have the same procedure.
I've come to EF Medispa in West London to meet Simon Evans. Simon is a stand-up comedian and sitcom writer, but this is serious business.
I've had what are currently referred to rather gracelessly as moobs for as long as I can remember, kind of fatty lumps underneath my nipples. It's embarrassing. I used to experience a lot of shame and discomfort in school changing rooms and so on, and that never really entirely leaves you. I became aware of a procedure which is now available called Vaser Lipo, which is apparently very safe, swift, painless. I thought, let's get a shot of them.
There's pure fat, there's no gland, just underneath the nipple, which is very good.
Yeah.
Simon is one of many men going for the procedure these days. Back in 2003, only 22 men had a breast reduction in the UK. By 2008, there were 323, an increase of more than 1,000%. And it's just part of a general explosion in male cosmetic surgery.
Men are taking a much more active approach about how they look. I think with the job market the way it is today, men having to stay looking younger because there's always somebody younger trying to come up behind them. So it's not just, you know, being good at your job, it's actually looking good within your job.
And it's all looking good for Simon. It might seem gruesome, but the operation is going perfectly to plan.
Very nice, not the same.
90 minutes later, Simon has come through with flying colours, and before too long we'll know the joy of being a moob-free man for the very first time.
There's now the weight, of course. This is you know, the hardest bit for a 21st century man, isn't it, to deal with anything that takes 2 weeks to have any sort of effect. And they say, you know, 2 or 3 months before it achieves its, you know, the full effects. I'm feeling happy now, and just wait and see.
Well, as I said in there, you know, welcome to the rest of your life. You are going to feel so great about it for
I won't
forever.
be able to keep my shirt on now. This is...
At £3,500, the surgery isn't cheap, but for men like Simon and me, the improvement is priceless.
Bill, thanks very much indeed for coming in to talk to us. Now, the phrase moobs, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it? And I have to say, before I read about your experience, which completely changed my view. Now, tell us about your childhood.
Well, I was aware of my moobs from a very early age, actually, about 8 or 9, and I was teased about them at school, and I just hated having what is, you know, one of the defining characteristics of a girl or a woman on a boy or a man. It's like, you know, if a woman grows a bit of a beard or starts to go bald, she's horrified because it's what happens to men, not happens to women. So I disguised it from then on. You know, all the clothes I ever bought were on the basis of how well they hid the problem. First into the swimming pool, last out, always sunbathing with the top on because I've got sensitive skin, which I hadn't really. It does affect your whole life.
And what about, I was going to say, like, people think like me, you know, I'm kind of ignorant towards it. I think, well, can't you do, like, press-ups with tone up this area and gym work and that? Couldn't you do stuff like that? Or is it something, because I mentioned it's something to do with the hormones, isn't it?
It's thought to be caused by overactive hormones which stimulate the fat glands, yeah. If you are overweight and you've got a big fat bum and a beer gut, you'll probably have man boobs. Right. If you then get yourself together, go to the gym, go on a diet, and everything else disappears and you've got a lovely, neat torso, your man boobs will probably go. If they don't go, then you have got gynecomastia, and then the only thing you can do about it is to have surgery to get rid of it.
Wow.
And a lot of the hormone changes, it says in the receipts, there could be linked to diet.
Yeah, well, of course, there's lots of weird things going into our diet these days. You know, everything is in everything. There's pesticides, and I'm not an expert in that field, and I
but
I
you was
don't
8.
know.
Surely your diet was okay.
And that was a long time ago,
Because
wasn't
then
it?
the research
Yeah.
was all about alcohol and stuff, which wouldn't apply
Wouldn't
if you were
affect
8.
a child, or indeed one would hope an adolescent. I think we should just say, by the way, the most common time for it to come on is during adolescence.
Wow.
And if you are a 14, 15-year-old listening to this and you've got it at the moment, I know it's horrible to wait, but give it a couple of years, because very often it does sort itself out.
Good advice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been pressure on women for years to have the perfect body, and a lot of women have boob jobs. Do you think that's now true of men as well?
I think there's no doubt men are under a great deal more pressure to look great these days, but, you know, I would draw a very clear dividing line between having your body altered just because you want to look fabulous, getting rid of wrinkles, or even having your torso sculpted to make it perfect, and getting rid of what is clearly a mistake by nature, and certainly for
A
me
medical problem.
A medical problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've run out of time now, but thank you very much indeed for coming in to talk to us.
Oh, it's
And
been a
thank you
pleasure.
for educating us, actually.
No, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Ah, thanks for coming on,
Nice
Bill.
to see you.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Now, if you like watching us here in Studio 5, then chances are you like